Have you ever wondered why it's important to make the right financial decisions for yourself? I've ever seen people always asking about, financial decisions. How can they make the right financial decisions when it comes to the area of investments, or when it comes to the area of, savings, or when it comes to the area of financial planning? So on today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you something that is very, very special. And I have a very, very special guest in the house today that we are going to be discussing this topic together. We are going to be looking at the art of, financial planning and financial decision making, how you can make the right financial decision for yourself. So if you want to actually know more about this, I will indulge you to stay glued to this video, and we'll be sharing more of this topic with you as we move on. Before I go on to the topic, I want to introduce my guest in the house today. I always call him the prof because he's someone that I've known for a while. He's someone that has been very exposed to the financial markets, also to the financial industry. And I thought it were to bring him on to this podcast episode for us to really talk about this. And I'm glad and privileged to welcome Dr. Tobi to the house. Welcome, Dr. Tobi.
Not yet doctor, but yeah, very soon. But thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation. As you mentioned, my name is Tobi, and currently I'm a doctoral researcher at the University of Luxembourg, and I'm working on sustainable finance. I love doing sustainable finance a lot, but the main thing today is not about sustainable finance; it's about personal finance.
Yeah, exactly.
And, yep. But in a nutshell, that's where I am and what I do currently.
Great. So thank you so much for actually coming on this special episode. I've gotten so many questions from people when it comes to the area of personal finance. Most people actually have challenges when it comes to, what kind of decisions they want to make when it comes to their finances. People struggle a lot when it comes to making sometimes investment decisions, or when it comes to savings, when it comes to, having a strategic financial plan for their finances. And that's why you see sometimes people get in all sorts of financial challenges because of this. So first, what would you say as, what is the concept or the art of personal finance?
Okay, so for me, again, I'll try to avoid any jargons because, like I said, I do finance, and easily I could get into a lot of jargon, so I'll try to avoid that here on this show and just be as simple as possible. But the way I look at personal finance is actually very simple. So it's just about like individual trying to make decision on how much they consume, how much they save, how much they invest, and also possibly thinking about how they manage their debt, and also about their retirement plan.
Okay.
So again, the purpose of trying to consider your personal finance is to ensure that you could, in a way, smoothen your consumption. So, what do I imply by smoothing your consumption? So, for instance, you want to invest today, right? And the reason why you're investing or saving today is actually to maintain your consumption tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years going forward. But you want to maintain that whether for you or for your future generations. So you want to ensure that, okay, you could maintain the standard of living. So again, for instance, when we look at it from finance perspective, the way we see investing is actually smoothing your consumption, because when you invest, you get return, and with this return, you plug it back, some into consumption, some into investment. So again, just for everyone, the way I see personal finance is about decision relating to how much you consume, how much you invest, how much you save, and maybe towards your long-term plan, like retirement plan.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Because when it comes to personal finance, it's something that most people don't really pay close attention to, and then when they have one or two, challenges, they are like already thinking about, how do I come out of this kind of thing? Why do you think people actually struggle when it comes to making, personal finance decisions, or when it comes to the area of maybe having to make a strategic financial plan, or having to make the right investment decision, or having to make, stick to a budget, or make some important saving goals for themselves? Why do you think most people actually struggle with this kind of thing?
Okay, so first, in general, I would say that the reason why people tend not to consider personal finance, for instance, could be lack of financial literacy. So, how can you tell someone to do something when they don't know how to do it? So it's a very tricky. I think that's the first step, because if you know how to plan, then you make the plan. But if you don't know how to plan, then you cannot do it. So,
exactly.
And a lot of people, they don't consider this kind of personal finance to be really a major thing to consider, because technically they don't know what it's all about. And I think that's why the postcard is very, very nice. Yes, exactly. It's very important because it brings to people how to really do it. I've seen a lot of videos online on personal finance, and technically what it just do is they just tell you a lot of things without telling you how to do it. I mean, come on. I mean, you tell me, okay, the same thing with motivational speaker. You know, they tell you that they started the restaurant with 1 tin tomato. For me, I mean, of course, while I was growing up, I read a lot of motivational books. The thing that you get from there is everyone talking about you should do it, but no one is showing you how to do it. And I think this is very important. I think that's the most important part of it. When you teach people how to do something, because a lot of people, they don't know how to do it. Even some guys are really doing typical finance. Also, too, they don't really care about their personal finance. Let me give you just one other example, because I worked with one accounting firm a long time ago. And I noticed that the accounting firm didn't really keep their own book of record very well, whereby they advise others on how to do it. So I think it's not just general. I think it's not just to regular people, but even people in finance, that we don't really consider our own personal finance as utmost priority. So I think the main thing is lack of financial literacy. And I think that's why, like I said, this podcast is very
important. Yeah, you're right, because that was one of the things that drove me into, having this podcast. I saw the need for people to be more informed about their finances. I saw the importance of, getting rid of, ignorance when it comes to finances, and also improving and increasing the awareness of financial literacy, especially in the African continent, because I know most times people have these troubles, when it comes to their finances. So I saw the need for, getting people more informed, getting people more educated. And like you said, when it comes to personal finance, it's not just about saying you should do this or you should do that. You have to ensure that you are actually showing these people how to do it, because most of these people, they don't, for example, someone might not really have an understanding of how to really set a budget, for a time frame. Some people might not even know what are the tools that are required for them to be able to, maybe have a regular savings, or to create an emergency fund, or to invest in a probably high yield savings account, because some people regularly might have to put their money in a normal regular savings account, which does not really yield any sort of interest on those savings. So most people don't know about things like this, and that's why it's always important to let them know and show them how to get this done. And that's why the Fintacts podcast is very, very important. I endorse you, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, kindly do so. Hit the subscribe button below. Also rate 5 stars on the podcast, and get your friends on board as well to this podcast channel. So
just to quickly chip in, because I think that, and the way just a free advice for the podcast is that I think that another thing that you could potentially do for your viewers is actually, or people that are actually super interested in personal finance, is to maybe create a kind of template for them, and you can show that, of course, depending on their financial goals, maybe short term, medium term, long term, they can have this kind of, let's say, maybe spreadsheet that they could make some plans on it, and maybe it could be much more tangible for them, rather than giving some list of points. Another point that I would like to raise is actually about okay, so I used to classify, when you are in a state, I used to define 2 states. The first state is surviving state, and the second state is thriving state. So the investment decisions or decisions you made during those states, I think, actually differs, because when you're trying to survive. You cannot tell an hungry man to start saving. You know?
That's true. That's true.
So in a way, I think also too, and most people, especially if you look at Nigerian society, for instance, is from hand to mouth.
To mouth,
so, exactly, and it's really difficult to tell them that save, I don't know, some percentage of your money or of your daily income, which might not. But I think that they've also done a lot of initiative in that area, which could be taken forward. For instance, there's something that my mom used to do then. It's called Ajo. So exactly. So she will give some daily
contributions,
exactly, and the woman comes and at some point she will get this bulk of money and then she reinvest it into her business. And I think that something like that one could take some initiative from stuff like that, because like I said, when you're thriving, you can think about all sort of investment plan, but when you're surviving, it's a different story. Nobody will tell me, if I'm trying to find something to eat, you not tell me that save 50% of your money. I say I don't even have this money what to save. So I think it's also another part to consider, especially in personal finance journey, for instance. And at least it's things to put at the back of your mind that this is how to structure my finances, this is how to go about the long run, even if it is daily contribution, just some small percentage, or even form a group of friends and say, okay, we contribute this amount of money, and at the end of the day, maybe you could use it for something that could improve your finances.
Yeah, you're right. Because I remember vividly, one of a friend of mine was actually, I was talking to her about the importance of having, a saving plan as well as having a budget. And she was in Nigeria, and she was just telling me about the fact that how much do I even earn in a month that I will now have to now start taking out the money, because considering the economic situation of the country, and then paying into account the cost of things, how the price of things has escalated, inflation is over there, and you're still earning the same amount of money on a monthly basis. So like most times, like close to 20 or 30% of our income goes into several expenses, and as well as the fact that the cost of transportation too for her was a bit high, considering the fact that she has to go take herself to work and back every day. When she takes those into account in a month, she feels that there was no need to even get anything to save, because at the end of the day, it's like you are, like you said earlier, living from hand to mouth. It's just like you are not really making the right, you are not moving in the right direction when it comes to your personal finance. So like you said, it's important for us to also identify. That's why I keep saying to people that it's important not to just focus mainly on just one source of income, because if you're someone that is a salary earner or someone that works, and that this major source of your income comes from that, you have to ensure that you think of other ways, like you said, that creative ways that you could actually double your money, to create the kind of financial freedom that you want, because the end goal at the end of the day is financial freedom. Everybody wants to be free financially. You want to be able to do things at your own leisure. If you want to fly to a particular country today, you want to be able to afford it. If you want to set up a particular business today, you want to be able to to afford that. So like you said, it's really important for people not to just focus on one source of income, but also look for ways to, that's why I say we have to just create multiple streams of income, so that you don't have to depend solely on one stream, and then it becomes like a financial burden to you as a person. So this is, very, very important as well.
Yeah, just to chip another thing in, because I think that's where the personal finance comes in. Because I think that it's strictly personal to you, and it also conditioned on your financial goals that you have. So some people just want to continue to consume the same level of consumption that they have, and that's all. For some, they really want to take like a lot of vacations around the world. So again, it's all personal, and you need to design your own financial goal according to your own priority, your financial priority. And I think that's where the personal finance is really, really very important.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Okay, so now we've gone through a bit more of the art of personal finance, and how important it is for people to make the right decisions when it comes to the area of their personal finance. Now, let's talk a bit more about investment decisions. Now, this is a part that most people have a lot of, they've had a lot of different experiences that vary. Like, I can give you from my own personal experience, for example. I remember in 2021, I had invested, I just graduated, I just finished my master's.
Yeah.
So I had invested my money. I was like someone I just finished and you were just looking for, one thing to do to just ensure that you are, creating wealth for yourself, So I had seen an investment company, I would say a broker's company that was more into forex trading at that time. And they were offering a very significant return on the investment. And I was very enticed by that, and this was something that I saw like it was an opportunity. But at that point, I didn't even think about doing my due diligence on those kind of companies, because when you start seeing someone that's offering you a return of, let's say, 20%, that catches your attention. You at that point you don't even want to consider what are the risks that are involved. Now, at that stage of my life, I felt it was important for me to really double my money, to increase my income, So I didn't know that this particular company was not even registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission of that country. So at that point, what happened was basically the Securities and Exchange Commission of that country came for them. They said, okay, why don't you have the license, for you to be able to do all this kind of investments in the country, and now it became a major issue because they had to take the matter to court. And then from there, the monies that, because a lot of investors are putting money in there. So the monies that investors were supposed to get now was not channeled towards settling and gaining that license. As time as time went on, they couldn't afford to now pay back those returns that they promised. And before you know, they didn't have the monies to even pay their staffs anymore. And they started laying off most of their staffs. And then investors' monies were trapped in there. Most people didn't get their money back, including myself. So now, why am I saying this? I'm actually saying this to just get your views on, what do you think people should pay attention to when it comes to, the area of investment decisions? Because I see so many people ask, where do I invest my money in? I want to know which several financial instruments. Should I put it in stocks? Should I put it in bonds? Should I look for exchange traded fund like the ETFs? What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so first, I think that if you look generally in investment community, especially with retail investors, so I'm talking about individual investors, the first thing that is the biggest here, I think, is the fear of missing out. I think if you relate it to your case, you saw that investment opportunity as really like extremely great, and you don't really want to miss out on the opportunity. I said, okay, you will be calculating 20% of this. If I invest this again, within 5 years, I'm already using Lamborghini. Sometimes when something is too good to be true, then it's probably
false.
It's probably somehow. And that's one thing to be careful of, because sometimes, so let me give an example. So the first advice I would give is that if you're in that situation whereby you have some income flowing in, I will advise you to look out for one of your friends that have studied something like finance and ask for some advice. You can start from that spot, because you might not have money to maybe hire a financial advisor. And you can first start from that. So in a way, again, when you're just starting from your career, you have this kind of investment, this kind of money that is coming in, and you just want to put it into something. It's better to ask your friends that actually have some knowledge about this, or to follow this particular channel, exactly, and to get more information about that. But also, I think that when you're making any investment decision, the first thing to consider is that, are you willing to bear this kind of risk? Because in your own case, maybe you didn't really analyze the...
Yeah, I didn't do enough due diligence on that.
Exactly, and most people don't have that kind of time to do that kind of due diligence on... I actually don't want to make one point, but I've forgotten because it came to my head spontaneous and I couldn't actually remember. But again, I would just say that I think first you need to see your long-term financial goal. The reason why I said that is that what kind of thing do you want long run? So the advice I'll give to a older person will be different from younger person. So for instance, one advice I typically give is to when you're getting old, possibly to invest in real estate, especially on rental income, because the rental income, it comes every month and you're able to maintain your consumption over time. When you're younger, I advise different kind of thing for you. Like, actually, I have a lot of friends that are actually moving into the industry now, and they're making some cool money. And now they are calling me and asking me, okay, where should I invest in? So to give an example, a friend of mine called me one time because Nvidia was going super crazy. And she told me, Tobi, Nvidia is going crazy. Should I invest in it and stuff like that? For sure, I was skeptical. The reason why, because it's recent. The reason why is that I think that this is just personal opinion. Yeah, exactly. It's not. But I think that as at that time, it's already overvalued, and I think that she might lost a lot of money investing in that because I just think that it was overvalued. So. Now, you could see that you have this kind of herding mentality whereby everyone is investing in this. I also want to invest in that. And it's kind of crowd out your rational judgment. So you say, okay, everyone is going crazy about this stock. Okay,
and that triggers
exactly, and that triggered something. So again, you have to understand what level of risk do you want to bear. Because for instance, if you're very young and you want to start your own personal business by the side, it means that you're taking the risk of creating a new business. So you are embarking on this business risk. If you are a bit older, you might want to be very conservative and maybe put in some bonds, but you know that typical finance 101 is the higher the risk, the higher the returns. So if you put your money in bonds, you could expect to have much lower return. So if you're young, what will I advise you to do? I will advise you, of course, it depends on your risk appetite. Exactly. But I will advise to put some money on some risky investment that could generate reasonable risky investment that could generate you some better return, I would say. And the reason why is that if you lose that, you can still bounce back, just like you when you lost the money. Look at you now, you're traveling everywhere to Spain. So you see, in a way, and I think that we need to make a lot of mistakes sometimes to really
realize. That's really true.
Because I think that now you know better. You know that okay, you need to do your due diligence.
Absolutely.
Better. And like I said, also you could see that maybe the more you grow older, your risk appetite starts to reduce and everything. So again, I would say first understand what kind of level of risk you want to bear. And then sometimes if you're having enough money, it's better to seek an advice of someone that has knowledge. Exactly, just to seek and say, it could be a friend. Like I said, my friend called me and said, Tobi, I want to invest in this. What do you think? And I explained. And she said, okay. But it's not, I wasn't there for, it was just my opinion. And that was it,
Oh, amazing. No, so it's really important because when we talk about things like this, so many people see it as, they just tend to underrate it because they feel like it's not necessary. But when it comes to the area of making investment decisions, this thing can actually make or break your finances because everybody wants to grow their finance. Everybody wants to be in that state of financial freedom as they see, But like when I believe that in making investment decisions forms a very strong part of the whole personal finance journey because one of the ways to increase your finances is through investment opportunities. And when you see the kind of investment opportunities, like you said, it all depends on personal preferences. There are so many questions that you have to ask yourself in that area. It could be as a result of your risk appetite. Are you someone that loves taking risk? Like you said, the higher the risk, the higher the returns, and when it comes to financial instruments, the appetites that a young person might have. A young person might just decide that, I want to go into the stock market. Yeah. I want to go and, identify, the stocks in the S&P 500 that are actually trending, that are the ones that have a strong potential to grow in the near future. Yeah. And they want to put their money in there. There are some people that will rather say, oh no, the stock market is too risky for me. I don't want to deal with that. I would rather go for, an exchange traded fund that has a more diversified portfolio of assets, where, you can track, indexes, for example. So, some people can also want to think about that, or rather you want to think about, I don't want to deal with stocks. I don't want to deal with bonds. I'd rather go into real estate, like you said. So, like the rental income is also very important because, that is one of the ways to, one thing I always say about real estate is very tangible. You can feel it, you can see it, you can touch it, and it's something that always increases in value depending on, the location of where you're acquiring this property. I know people that have been able to grow their finances from real estate, acquiring properties here and there and renting them out, just to get that rental income and a capital appreciation, because you putting your money in there, the value of that real estate today will not be the same in 3 or 4 years' time. Yeah. So it's always important that when you're thinking about the investment decision, you have to first of all identify why you want to invest in this particular instrument. It's more personal. You have to think about it from a personal perspective. Because if you do things because other people are doing it, by the time you get to a stage, it becomes a challenge. Because when that person scales through, because you don't have the knowledge of how to go through or navigate your way towards that direction, you might fall victim to that kind of situation. So it's something that I also consider as a very important part of personal finance. Investment decisions has to be more personal.
Yeah, just to chip in some stuff about this personal finance. Actually, I have this friend that is probably managing some finances of some footballers, for instance. And the typical discussion we always discuss is that for a footballer, there's a period whereby your income just go over the roof.
Yeah.
You make like a lot of money.
Yeah.
And after that, your career, you see that you don't make that kind of money again. And if you look at in Nigerian situation, it's just unfortunate that we have some really very popular footballers that now they're not living so fine or so well. I mean, it's not like I'm judging anybody, no, but I'm just using an example that sometimes depending on also your income, because I was advising this set of people, my friend, that see, what you could do is that you have to start some plans that it could maintain the way the footballer is living now. Probably through investment, picking up a lot of investment vehicle and start investing now. So that as at the time that the person is retiring or those set of guys are retiring, they could actually like have something to still spend and something is bringing them money over. So again, the reason why I'm bringing up this point is that it also depends on your monthly income. So I would call it your salary income, for instance. At some point, you could maybe, of course, I used to also say that depending that if you're in academics, you could see that as you proceed, as you move up the top, you earn more. For some other scenario, for some other profession, it's not that way. It could be like at one point in time, you just make a lot of money. Maybe you're a musician, you just make, there's this time that you blow and you're everywhere, you make a lot of money. And I think that's actually a stage that is quite important for them to also start making these financial plans, because maybe, of course, they won't get to reign forever in that field because of how evolving and very new stars and coming up. And I think that it's also really very important, your income as at that time, and really seeing, okay, if going forward, will I still be able to make this income or even more? How do I plan towards that and actually making a solid investment plan? I don't know about like long run of this podcast, but maybe you already have this one-on-one with people, because I think that it's important that people consult on one-on-one people like you that are actually very knowledgeable about personal finance and actually tailor personal their finances to their own investment
decisions.
Because anything we mention on this podcast, in my own opinion, to be very generic.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it won't, and again, we are sounding like those guys that said it's good to invest and invest, do this, but they don't show. So but this podcast is also one of those. But I think that what could distinguish this is actually taking this further.
Absolutely.
And actually, taking it more serious, maybe in terms of maybe your viewers trying to get in touch, or even with your friends and try to say, okay, I watched this and I think I want to get serious with that because I think it's important. Honestly, because also too, I'm very young, I'm going to make a lot of investment mistakes. I've made a lot in the past.
It's part of the learning process, actually.
Exactly, and I'll still continue to make a lot of mistakes. However, for me, I consider, I don't know if I should say this on air, but sometimes I take a lot of advantage of economic downturn. I typically work on downside risk for my research. I have a paper on sustainable in relation to downside risk. And what that implies is that I take also advantage when the economy is not doing fine. I would say I made my biggest return in the Nigerian stock market during COVID. Some of my investment were generating over 100% return. Of course, I cash in those stuff earlier. But I still try to track them, that if I've not cashed out from those kind of investment, what would have been the return? And I could see like, oh God, why did I cash?
Why did you cash out very early?
Exactly. So again, you want to make a lot of mistakes, but as I mentioned, when you're younger, it's allowed to make a lot of mistakes. When you're older, just be more conservative. You could put it in bonds. You could put it in well-backed security.
Just to touch on that point, you just mentioned earlier, about the Nigerian stock market. Now so many people, I believe so many of my audiences, they are Nigerians, so they tend to always ask this question about the Nigerian stock market, especially those that are also living in the diaspora. Now, if you are looking at the current situation of the Nigerian economy, one will want to question the fact that because of the situation of the economy, for those that are living in diaspora, for example, this might not be the best time for them to invest, because if they put their money, for example, they are investing, obviously they are converting their money from foreign currency to the local currency, which is the naira, right? So now, do you think for someone that's in diaspora, this because of the fact that now the naira is really losing a lot of value when it comes to other foreign currencies, especially with the dollar and the pounds, do you think it's an important decision for someone now that is living in diaspora to put his money or her money into the Nigerian stock market, considering, let's just say, because now recently if you observe, so many of these banks in Nigeria, for example, started issuing shares by initial public offering. Some of them were issuing several amount of shares to the general public, whether by initial public offering or by rights issues. So now, you from the diaspora seeing these things, do you think it's a good opportunity to put in your money there if you are looking for maybe a short-term value, or you are looking for the long-term?
It's a tricky question, honestly, because, like I said, I'm quite exposed to the Nigerian stock market, and I quite invested some of my money there. Number one thing is that because on LinkedIn, someone posted and say, "Oh, if you've invested in MTN in Nigeria, you could have made this kind of money." Which I reacted and said, "I don't think so, because there are some hidden costs that you don't know."
Absolutely.
By the time you try to pull out your money, you see that, okay, now I'm not making money, I'm even making losses on this investment. Again, it depends on your goal, because for instance, what I do especially, which it's not also advice to anyone, it's just what
your
I
personal
do
opinion,
is that when I see that the stock market is penalizing firm too much about a certain behavior, And then I analyzed those behavior and I said, does it worth this kind
Red
of
flag.
penalty? And if it doesn't worth that, I will invest in it because they've over penalized this firm at that particular state. So let me give an example. I think last year, 2023, MTN declared huge foreign exchange losses. Very huge one. And the market started to react by penalizing them. And I was looking at the financial and I was like, oh, this is too... the penalty is too exactly, it's too much. And I said, okay, I'm putting my money in. Then I did. Actually, within few days, I made a lot of money.
Wow.
But the part that is
quite tricky.
Yes, I didn't pull out my money. The reason why I didn't pull out my money is that because I think that, if this is my opinion again, I think MTN is a really great company that I want to still have some stake in. Exactly. But now if you look at my expected return or expected gain, I'm now at loss domain. So
the price of the shares dropped.
Exactly, after that short time. That again, it also conditioned on do you want to stay long or you want to stay short?
Yeah.
I still think that MTN will rebound.
Yeah.
This is just again personal views.
It's not investment advice.
Exactly, I'm not making any investment advice. But again, I think the Nigerian market is very tricky.
Yeah.
And the trickiness comes from a lot of different ways. I think that one of the reasons why you don't see this lot of big investment banks or investors coming to Nigeria is that they think that there could be some...
it's very uncertain. Like
some people knowing some not publicly available information. I don't want to call it insider trading,
but insider information. You don't want to call it that way.
They don't want to be the fool holding the bag. They prefer to not really put in. And I've heard a lot of stories whereby you put your money there and after 5 years you see that it's literally worthless and everything. So again, if you don't know how to play the game in the market, I would say, in terms of maybe you could call it market timing, then I would suggest not to really put your head too much in the stock market. You could do bonds if it's okay with you.
Yeah.
We don't have any other investment opportunity outside.
Yeah.
In my portfolio, in my investment portfolio, I have real estate as the biggest, almost 90% of my overall total investment
portfolio.
Yeah. And I think I'm quite happy with that, especially I'm young.
Yeah.
And I think, and I try to be very strategic where I acquire those assets.
Assets, yeah.
Exactly, because again, there's this popular view that, the real estate market, the housing prices will continue to go up.
Yeah.
But it's not entirely true. It also depends on location. You could be hit by a kind of exogenous shock. So you could be hit by any kind of shock, or maybe there could be, So again, you have to be, even if you make, if you invest in all this real estate, you have to be very careful. So again, I will not make any, I would say if you don't understand the market, please don't go.
Yeah, exactly. It's very important.
Consult.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very important. When it comes to the Nigerian stock market, if you are someone that is not really, familiar with the market, it's always advisable not to just put in your money there, especially when you don't understand the progression, of these shares. Like, you have to also look at, their historical data. How have they been performing, from the last couple of years? Have they been quite consistent? Because truth has to be said, some of these shares actually were always fluctuating. It was very volatile. So I can recall for GTB, for GITCO shares, for example. I know that in previous years, at some point they were doing quite all right, but there was a time that the price per share was actually dwindling. It was going down. But it was still able to recover. So now, when you look at it, it's not. This is not an investment advice, but this is just my personal opinion about this. I feel like sometimes when it comes to some of the shares in the Nigerian stock market, it's important to always look at the long term. if you are someone that has the investment strategy of, long-term value, it might be a long-term value, depending on the historical data that you've seen and how they've progressed over the years. Because, I know there was a particular, I had stumbled on a particular video from one of the famous pastor who had said he lost a lot of money as a result of investing in several of these Nigerian shares in many years ago, and obviously that was his own personal experience, and he doesn't feel like the Nigerian stock market provides you good value for your money, and that's his own personal opinion, but like you said, when it comes to this kind of investment, it's always important for you to identify what's your personal goal, for this investment, and at the same time, make sure you have the right knowledge. And that's why this podcast is here. We try as much as possible to give you important information when it comes to the area of your investments, because we give you the tools that you can use to make your decision. We don't tell you what to do, but we give you the tools that could actually help you make confident decisions, and of course get some important results based on those decisions. So it's really very important.
So I have 2 points to quickly make. So the first one is promoting what I'm currently doing.
Yeah, sure.
Because you mentioned something on data, and I'm actually working on financial data in Nigeria. It's actually for Africa. It's kind of modeling after Bloomberg.
Oh, amazing.
And we will soon be out, and typically for now it's free for students. And I just keep it at that. The second thing I want to mention about Nigerian financial market is really unclaimed dividends. We have billions under unclaimed dividend. And of course, we're working on a project like that to see how we could make the market more efficient by ensuring that the unclaimed dividend reduce. Of course, there are some things also going underground when you look at unclaimed dividend. But again, it's not encouraging when you put your money in, and to really receive the dividend, it's also very difficult, because I had some unclaimed dividends, and I tried to message the registrar. I tried to do the process, and it was really I submitted all documents, but the system rejected me instantly, saying I did not produce my specimen signature. And I said, I just uploaded my specimen signature. And it looks like it's already customized to say, okay, there's one data missing. And I said, come on. And the funniest thing was I was applying at the same time to 2 registrar firms. And one accepted the same document, and the other one was saying I did not present my specimen signature. And I said, I uploaded it. So again, we have that kind of inherent problem in the financial market, that, of course, because there are two. If you look at investing in any capital market or in any financial market, there are 2 things. You get gain from
capital appreciation,
exactly, and you also get from the dividend payments. Exactly. So or maybe it could, if it is bond, it could be interest, or it could be anyways. Again, it's two form, and many people focus on the capital appreciation, but also you have this income, which is a dividend or interest, or which many people don't consider. But I also think that it's a signal about how efficient the market is, because how can the market be having a lot of billions of dividends unclaimed? Exactly. If you go to the SEC website, you're going to see if you go online, search now, you see a lot of unclaimed dividends. And yes, our initial idea is actually, but I think maybe we might bring that to the market soon, but we still have a lot of complication and how to really go about that. So like he said, if you want to really connect with him, you can connect with him on his social media handle. You can let them know. I'm very active on LinkedIn. So you just connect with me, Tobi Oladiran, you see Doctorate Researcher in Sustainable Finance. At the University of Luxembourg. Okay, thank you so much. So just to wrap this all up, so what would be your final assessment of, when it comes to the area of personal finance? If there's someone now out there watching us and the person doesn't really know where to start when it comes to the area of personal finance, and when it comes to the area of making important investment decisions, especially when it comes to also trying to find what to do
to grow their money, because so many people, they have money that they earn, but they are always looking for ways to grow it, and they are not aware, especially in the Nigerian market. So what would be your advice to people of this kind of caliber?
Okay, so my final advice. So first, if you are struggling, I'm just joking, but so I'm assuming that the set of people we are speaking to now have some money to invest. I will advise to make your due diligence. It's very, very important. There are some risks that are worth taking, and there are some risks that are just purely stupid. So assess your risk very well. Not just say, okay, I just want to put my money somewhere. And again, consult with your friend, take personal finance serious, follow this podcast. You see a lot of things to really develop your personal. Like I said, it's very personal, and you have to get personal with it. So absolutely. My if you have a lot of money to invest, do your assessment, due diligence, assess your own risk appetite. Depending on the age you are, if you're young, I advise you could be a bit more risky because you have years to make more money. If you are old, be very conservative, and maybe you could be conservative in your approach towards investment. And that it should be very, like I said, anything I'm giving out will be very general because a lot of audience are watching this. But to get specific, I would say they should consult with financial advisor, especially if they have a lot of money.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Tobi. This has been very, very enlightening. It has been very, very impactful. And you've heard him, it's important to get personal with your personal finances. And that's why we call it the art of, personal finance, the art of making the right investment decision or the right finance decisions for yourself. So it's important to always ensure that you are making those right decisions, because you wouldn't want to struggle when it comes to your finances. It's very, very important. So thank you so much for joining us on this special episode.
Thank you for inviting me
on the podcast today. I really appreciate it. And of course, guys, like I said, follow him on LinkedIn, and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button, and also subscribe or rate 5 stars to the podcast channel. And like I said, we already have other special episodes that we've done in the past when it comes to the area of your personal finance. You can always make reference to that. And if you have any questions or you have any feedbacks, you can always send this across, or you can just drop it on the comment section, and I'll get to respond to you. So thank you so much for listening today on this special episode. Until I see you again next time, always stay financially healthy and financially sound. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.